Next, Jerusalem-based Lightricks raises $10 million to continue the growth of its leading apps Facetune and Enlight. But first, we'll bring you some more of this morning's headlines. Welcome back to the Morning Edition here on i24 News. We are now joined in studio by tech blogger Hillel Fuld. Good morning.
Good morning.
So what do you have for us? And I love your laptop, by the way.
Thank you so much.
That's a really colorful, exciting thing.
A lot of colorful tech going on in this country. So there's a lot of news, as always. One of the interesting stories that we saw in the last couple of weeks, or this week actually, is a company called Lightricks, Jerusalem-based startup that basically broke all the rules of tech. So if you look at mobile companies today, usually they're raising venture capital, they're raising external money. They're not usually monetizing. You're not making money from their apps. We don't pay for apps, most of us. If you think about the apps you have on your phone, you don't pay for most of them. And many other rules that they kind of looked at and said, all right, we're going to do it a different way. You know, they're not in Tel Aviv, they're in Jerusalem, they're not in Herzliya. And they're making $10 million a year now. They just raised $10 million just now from an Israeli VC, which is, again, a pretty large round for Israeli VCs. Usually you go out of Israel to raise that kind of money.
Right.
It has been, it's not, the first time ever, but it's definitely one of the first, and they're just a very, very interesting company. So they just announced that a few days ago. Until that round, they didn't raise any external money, which is pretty amazing. And what they are is a company that releases, again, another rule that they broke is photo editing apps. So you'd think photo editing's like been there, done that. Photoshop owns it, and on mobile there are enough Instagrams and enough apps doing this.
Enough filters in the world.
Exactly. But sure enough, they came out with these apps that one is called Facetune, and it's basically Photoshop for selfies. As funny as that sounds, it's actually a pretty astounding app. It uses real photo technology, not just filters like Instagram and other apps.
Yeah. And
it really does. You remove blemishes and other things on people's faces, and it's truly an amazing app.
This is going to be really popular because people love to take selfies, and I must admit, selfies are not always the most flattering pictures of people.
Exactly.
Oh my gosh, you can even change the size of your nose.
It's truly amazing.
I'm willing to bet celebrities like Kim Kardashian are already using something like this.
So that's true, and I'll tell you another thing that they broke with this is that usually people don't charge for apps. Like I said, people don't pay for apps. This is actually a paid app, and it's being downloaded by the millions. It's all the way to the top of the App Store. Wow. And again, it's a Jerusalem-based company. It's truly amazing.
Like in any kind of business, when you find something that a customer needs, they're willing to go that extra way for it.
Exactly. And their other app is Enlight, another photo editing app, and it also did they released that only recently, and it jumped to the top of the app stores. It's truly an amazing, amazing company. And they did not raise any money till now. They just raised this $10 million round, and it's just really, national pride to watch this company raise that kind of money.
Yeah, Israel, really startup nation, but actually Jerusalem, that's not a place you would expect startups to be. This
is a great, segue to my next topic.
Okay.
Mobileye. If you've heard of the company, they're also a Jerusalem company, and they've developed automotive technology for detecting movements on the road and all kinds of different things to increase safety.
Sure.
And this week, the Wall Street Journal reported that they are working on a car that will be available in 2018 for detecting when the driver either falls asleep or has a heart attack or any other kind of medical situation, and it actually takes over the steering for you.
Wow, so I wonder how that would actually work. Is it sensors in the seats, from the wheel? How do you know how that would?
You're seeing on the video right now. It has sensors, it has cameras, it detects what's going on the road. It warns drivers, and all kinds of different technology, a million different sensors that it uses, and it's truly an astounding company. I think it's, if I'm not mistaken, the biggest IPO in Israel's history.
Wow.
They went public, and they're doing incredibly, incredibly well, and also a Jerusalem company. So it's it's pretty interesting to watch kind of Jerusalem take off as a startup scene, and it's not Tel Aviv, it's not Herzliya, it's Jerusalem.
And regarding driving, what many people don't realize is that there are more crashes due to people being tired than alcohol.
And
this
texting.
is a statistic. Testing probably, but
topic for another time.
But the leading cause of car crashes, and especially very serious ones, are people just falling asleep at the wheel, just dozing off.
Absolutely.
People are just too tired.
Everyone's talking about self-driving cars, and most people talk about the convenience of self-driving cars, but they're actually going at this from a different kind of angle and saying convenience, yes, but safety as well. Because like it or not, machines can do a lot of things better than us humans. And so with these cameras and these sensors, they're really going to prevent, hopefully, crashes and other situations on the road. And we know better than anyone else in this country, right? So, I'm wishing them all the luck. They're an amazing company, really an amazing company.
It's a great initiative.
Yes, unbelievable company. Other topics, Facebook, we talk about this all the time. All the big companies globally, all the biggest tech companies without exception, nearly without exception, are either establishing a presence here in Startup Nation or acquiring companies and then establishing a presence. From Google, who has R&D here, AOL is here, they have their accelerator. Yahoo announced their first accelerator here. Apple has an office here, and all of them. Facebook, and so what's interesting is that Facebook just acquired another company in Israel called Pebbles. And I'm sure you've heard about the virtual reality trend.
Sure.
Yeah, so
Pebbles. What exactly is Pebbles?
Pebbles Interfaces is a really kind of futuristic company where you see their technology, you feel like you're in Minority Report. It text gestures and other things to control, screens and other things. So when you put on their device, you could actually see your hands, but in an augmented reality. It's very hard to explain. It's one of those things like Oculus, which Facebook owns as well, which it's very hard to describe unless you actually try it. The first time I tried it, I was pretty blown away. I was shown a roller coaster. And I literally got up from my chair and I was dizzy.
Wow.
It's as if I was on the roller coaster. It was unbelievable.
So, it's very cool. I mean, this kind of technology is incredible, but what's Facebook going to do with it? For?
It's a great question. So Facebook, is a very interesting company. They're all over the place. And I think in Zuckerberg's mind, he knows exactly what he's going to use this for. To be honest with you, I don't think anyone really knows exactly why they acquired, because they acquired Oculus for $2 billion. It's not, so this acquisition was $60 million. It's small, chump change for Zuckerberg, but $2 billion on Oculus Rift is, blew everyone away. I was like, what's he going to do with that? He wants to connect the world, and I feel like virtual reality, augmented reality is kind of the next world, where we're going, where we're headed, and it's obviously a very, very big trend in general. Yeah. So that's really interesting. And just in general, watching Facebook's a really interesting company. It came out of nowhere. Kind of like when they IPO'd, when they went public, people were like, I don't know, are they a business? Can they really make money? But now they're doing incredibly well.
That's seeing how it originally turned out. I mean, did you see the original Facebook? Have you ever seen that?
The Facebook.
It was the Facebook.
Yeah,
and seeing it, it's totally conquered the world.
Taking over completely.
Amazing.
Unbelievable. So those are the three main stories. And just in general, one more thing that's just interesting to note is that there is a very interesting trend, and everyone likes to use the word Startup Nation, but Startup Nation implies that we're building small companies and maybe flipping them, selling them right away. And that, I guess, traditionally in the last couple, I'd say, decade or two or more was true. But we're seeing now a really interesting trend of actually the next step. People call it Scale-Up Nation, people call it different things, but not just building small companies, but building sustainable businesses and either building them out, IPOing, going public, or just building them out privately to, billions of dollars. And one of the kind of symptoms of this trend is Israeli acquisitions. Like you're seeing a lot of Israeli companies actually buying other companies, which I feel like is the next kind of level in growth when we're buying companies. We're not just like small.
Right.
So that's really interesting.
Startup Nation 2.0. We're moving on.
Exactly.
To
So I like to call it
places.
Unicorn Nation. Unicorn is the way billion-dollar companies are called in tech. They're called unicorns because they're so rare. Well, not so rare anymore. But and so we're really seeing a lot of Israeli acquisitions, in ad tech and other things. And so that's just a really interesting interesting trend to note. And I'm thinking that what we're going to see very soon is a lot more. Both unicorns and IPOs coming out of Israel. There's so many. We're the size of New Jersey. I mean, we got to remember that, right? We're competing with China and US, and we're this small.
It's amazing. It's
truly amazing when you put it into kind of perspective, and it's just going to continue to grow, and that's really exciting.
Well, really cool stuff. I learned a lot today. Thank you so much, Hillel, for joining us. And let's also say now hello and good morning again to Ami Kaufman, who is here today for the Viral Spiral. That is the web review. I think we could use some humor at this point, especially after today's show, World Humanitarian Day. We had some pretty heavy topics. I need a laugh.
Okay, well, actually, first, before the laughs, we're going to start with some feel-good kind of stuff.
Oh, that's good too.
Us Magazine has this headline about LeBron James from the Cleveland Cavaliers, considered the world's best basketball player, and he thinks so, by the way, himself.
Absolutely.
He says it quite often.
We know this.
that he's the best. But he's actually putting his multi-million-dollar salary to some good use, and he's investing in the next generation of leaders and superstars. He's going to give, he's going to cover tuition and service fees at the University of Akron in Cleveland. That's about $9,500 a year for about 1,100 kids.
Wow,
to go to school.
That's a great
that number
thing.
might actually jump up to 2,300 kids that will benefit from this whole thing. So over 1,000 kids that are going to get some good stuff from this guy's multi-million-dollar contract. It's a good deed.
Kudos to LeBron.
It's nice, isn't
And
it?
it sounds like something close to his heart, something he really wants to put his money behind.
Yeah,
so.
yeah, and it's actually good for the school as well, which has had some financial troubles, by the way. This is going to really help them out.
Great. Really
So
good news
feel
there.
good. Start with
Thank
some feel
you for
good.
that.
But now I'm going to bring you down.
Okay.
If you're not in New York, or you're originally from
Chicago.
From Chicago. Okay.
Yes, second city.
There's this survey that this magazine called Travel and Leisure, and they do the survey with their readers, which is America's favorite city, and New York ranked at the bottom. It lost out of 38 cities. It is considered the least friendly city in the United States.
This is a known thing for Americans. I mean, you
think it's a known thing? New Yorkers do not agree with you. They got really mad when they heard.
Say where I'm from.
Wait, where are you from, Hillel?
I am from New York.
You are from New York.
I am from New York. But I'm a nice guy.
You are a very nice guy.
Obviously, you do not agree with these results, Hillel.
I agree with these results, at least according to the cities I've been to, because New York, it's all the hustle and bustle. Everyone's trying to make it. It's stressful, and
I love New Yorkers. They might be a little, rough on the outside, but they're,
I felt that
you
when
felt
I was
that?
there.
Well, but next to New York, there was Detroit, Philadelphia, Washington D.C., and Boston. They rounded out the bottom 5. But do you know who came in the least friendly? Who came in number 1? Who is the friendliest city in the United States? Do you have any clue whatsoever?
I would want to say Chicago, but maybe Portland.
No, I'm sorry, you're not even close. It's Nashville.
Really?
Nashville came in at number 1.
Wow.
And Salt Lake City and St. Paul rounded up the top 3.
Okay, I was going to say, there's got to be a Midwestern city in there, because Midwesterners are just so nice.
I've been to St. Paul, and it's true. They really are nice over there. They're just really nice. They're just smiling, and I don't know. Here's another nice, I always like to bring in some nice people to follow on Instagram. This guy's name is Francois Dourlaine. He's a French photographer, and he uses his iPhone to insert pop culture into characters into real life. We can just show some of these pictures that he does. He holds the phone with an image of.
Oh, I see. So he takes like shots of Disney characters.
There's Super Mario.
And stuff. Oh my God, that's hilarious.
And before that was Trafalgar Square. That's Pinocchio in front of some kind of newscaster, I guess.
Oh, I was like, is that Jimmy Kimmel? No.
Remember that scene? That's from Back to the Future.
Yeah, Back to the Future, the clock scene.
And Schwarzenegger on a tricycle, I think, is pretty funny too.
That is really cool.
Snow White, someone holding an apple.
Big fan.
That's oh, you're a big fan too.
You know this guy?
Yeah, I follow him on Instagram. Great.
That's great.
And Bart Simpson, that's my favorite one. Bart Simpson.
What's his name?
His name is Francois, of course.
Francois.
Dourlaine. He's French. Francois Dourlaine.
I'm gonna look him up.
He's pretty good, isn't he?
Yeah. Add some more cheer to the Instagram feed.
I know. U.S. politics, as you know, I'm in love with Trump. we do it in the press review. I'm going to bring it in the web review. A while back, he was interviewed for the New York Times, and he had this comment about model Heidi Klum, and said that she is no longer a 10. In the score of it.
How dare he?
Well, Heidi Klum did not take this sitting down, and she made this video that went viral. Let's take a look at it. Heidi Trump's Trump. That's the hashtag.
That is an epic hashtag. That's very cool. Well, Heidi Klum is really known for her sense of ease and her sense of humor. She is really, really a funny person, and that's a great way to respond. I think.
Although we have to say that none of this misogynistic remarks that Trump says on a daily basis has hurt him in the polls. In fact, he just keeps booming and rising, as we've seen in the poll that we showed today from CNN, leading the pack with 24%, with Jeb Bush trailing at 13%. So none of this really hurts him.
Yeah, and he's not really rescinding any of these comments, is he? He's just on the offensive.
Full steam ahead. Teflon man, nothing hurts him.
People like to be entertained, I would assume.
Yeah.
People like entertainment.
We find it completely entertaining as journalists. I mean, we'll see where this goes.
Sticking with politics, the BBC has a nice magazine article called "The U.S. Love Affair with Food on a Stick." And this is, of course, because of what happened in Iowa recently, where the politicians went to the Iowa State Fair, and they had pictures of all these people, as we can see. We'll show some pictures of all these politicians eating pork chops. There's Hillary, for example, eating pork chops on a stick, and then the BBC tries to understand where this whole craze came from. They can't really get to the bottom of it. I mean, it started with the corn dog is the most famous one, which actually started apparently in the 1940s, and since then it pretty much took off. There are 75 different foods on a stick that you can get in the Iowa State Fair alone. You can get, the regular stuff like corn dogs and pork chops, but you can also get hard-boiled eggs, honey on a stick, deep-fried brownies, apple pie, chocolate-covered cookies and cream, fried peanut butter and jelly on a stick, and tater dogs.
How all these
that's, for example, that's nachos on a stick, apparently. I don't know.
Nachos on a stick?
Doesn't really look like nachos to me, but that's what they call it.
That's a falafel.
Yeah, that looks like a falafel.
You get a fried
with some
Twinkie.
Mayo and the mustard
you
on
can
it.
get a fried Twinkie on a stick.
Fried Twinkie on a stick.
Yeah.
I guess I understand it because they don't want so much of a mess, and also you don't really want to give people who don't have a place to sit plate with a fork and a knife.
Yeah, well, actually,
it makes sense.
It does make sense. Actually,
revolutionary.
The BBC actually quotes this culinary historian. His name is Andrew Smith. He said it's a fairly widespread way of eating food and a healthier way of eating food in some places around the world because it risks contamination by hand. So there's actually a reason for this, but here he says in the States they took it to a different level, and it's some sort of extreme sport on a stick. It's what can I put on a stick that nobody's done before? It won't be long before people will be eating cockroaches on a stick, according to this. According to this culinary
morning for this stuff.
Culinary historian.
Well, do we have something real quick?
Really quick. Here's a weatherman. We know there was an earthquake in San Francisco. Let's see how he reacted when he was on the air. Let's see what happened to him.
Everybody was sending out pictures of, be it Mount Amana, Mount Diablo, you name it. Everyone was obscured. Oh my gosh, we're having an earthquake. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. This is a good one. All right.
That was a good one.
That was a big one.
That was a biggie.
That was a good one.
That was a biggie. He was pretty calm. If I was there, I would have ducked under the table. I thought you were supposed to duck.
I would have dove somewhere. I don't know. How do you react to that? Well, Ami, thank you very much for joining us this morning. And that's it for our show. Thank you for watching. We'll be back here tomorrow morning for the news to start your day. And in the meantime, you can follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and i24News website. Have a great day.